my name is Dinah Redhouse, and I am the head of the Mobile Application Development Department at Digital Prodigee, which is a hybrid digital agency located in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we focus on social media management as well as mobile application development. And with great honor, I am sitting here with Macie Mata, who is a phenomenally successful former founder, successful female mobile tech mogul in the making. And we are so lucky and blessed to have you as a partner at Digital Prodigee. She is actually our business development coach. And the thing I love most about Macie, amongst a million other things, is that she really helps people transform their mindset to help them become successful entrepreneurs and founders. And correct me if I'm wrong, you've helped raise over $4.6 million for your clients, correct?
Yeah, so far since Q4 last year, I think I'm at 4.6 million.
That's
right now.
Amazing. I mean, that's incredible. And one of the beautiful things about kind of our synergy, Macie, is that I help people through the ideation phase and kind of getting their concepts into something tangible, like a product and a service that's real and is existing in the App Store. And then I kind of pass the baton to you, and it's kind of this great flow because you help people create it, take their business to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think that's phenomenal. So I'm gonna just ask some quick questions about your success and all the amazing things you've done in your career so far. So one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about today was, one of the things I get a lot from people when I'm working with clients is like, I'm afraid someone's gonna steal my idea. There's already an existing idea out there. How do I get past that fear of kind of not only the unknown, but just like the fact that, I'm afraid of putting myself out there in more ways than one. So like, tell people how you got past that barrier and were able to kind of, push past that.
Yeah, of course. So I feel like for myself personally, I like to say I was raised at Wells Fargo because all of my adult life, that's where I was. And they would constantly tell us, we'll never be the first to roll something out. Let's let Bank of America do it and mess it up.
Take the liability.
Right. So sometimes being first to market isn't truly the best thing, as far as strategy goes.
Right.
And then when you look at market size, as long as you're playing in that $1 billion market size area, look at Uber Eats just buying up Postmates for over $1 billion. Billions.
Yeah.
4.6 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of room out here for everyone to play. That was my first taste of understanding that you should learn from your competitors.
Absolutely.
And then eventually, if you're looking for an exit, use them in your favor.
Exactly. Look at we had Uber come out after Lyft.
Yep.
And I mean, that's like the perfect example. Like they were pretty huge, and just off of like great marketing technique and having great, presence in the market, they were able to really become the forewinners in that. And so I love that you were able to kind of take an idea and literally you kind of have the appreneur dream, right? We call it appreneur, entrepreneur, that's for apps. But, I think, just that struggle of learning, coming from a banking industry,
right? That
is way different from tech, but like it's doable and you made it happen. Mm-hmm. So like, how did you transform, from being in banking and having that structure to being in tech, and you're kind of like stepping into such uncharted territory.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get through that?
Oh gosh, it was such a wild journey, right? I spent 9 years in finance, and I was in Silicon Valley the last year of my career with Wells Fargo, and they went through their lawsuit, which really shook things up for me because over 75% of my income was bonus structure. It was all on bonus, and they took that away overnight. So I was also in a place mentally where I was figuring out what I wanted to do. I was advising about 50% tech companies at that time when I was in Silicon Valley, and it was really getting me excited about innovation and what I wanted to do. I had hit this floor. I felt like I didn't want to go really any further. I wasn't excited about the next steps on where I'd be promoted in corporate America.
So it's kind of a natural progression.
Yeah.
You kind of felt like, okay, I've done this. I've kind of like, now it's like I'm ready for inspiration, something that pushes me in a new direction, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, so I came up with the concept, And then I jumped ship and went to a startup to work for 1 year just to transition from corporate America into the startup world, see how they were allocating their funds and learning and development, how they were bringing up managers and building out their teams. It was really exciting to just see that, and it was, oh my god, a god-awful shit show, right?
But you learn so much, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like you learn so much through, especially in this industry, you learn so much from the failure part of it.
Yep.
And same for me, like, I mean, I don't know if you can relate to this, but throughout my journey, I lost thousands of money. I know you said you even took money out your 401k, like
the whole thing. I cashed out the whole 401k.
Like I've done that, and it's so amazing to know. It's like when you get to that point where you're like, it's do or die. I want to do this, and I'm not waiting on anyone to start it. It's like you're willing to do it, but then you learn those lessons along the way where it's like, wow, like in hindsight, like it seemed like a waste, but really it was a blessing to learn those lessons, and there's really no other way around it unless, again, going back to like having an experienced team, you know, that you can rely on, that's been there and done it multiple times. So, you know, you're at this place, it's, you know, wild and crazy, and it's kind of like all, you know, everyone doing their own thing. So like, what made you push past that and finally do your app?
I was doing it regardless, like no matter what. I run pretty fearless most of the time. I think that my main goal now is from idea to technology acquisition. It took me 2.5 years, and probably I could have saved half the money and half the time, right? If I had a team that we have at this company, and I absolutely love it. So that's my goal now, and kind of what I want to breathe into my founders is to run fearless, but associate yourself with the people that already know. If you are not from technology, let's learn, and let's learn quickly.
Exactly, because you were saying 2.5 years from like kind of that ideation phase to like launching and kind of starting to look for seed funding. But you know, I think I told you recently, I just did an app in 2 weeks, which is like record time for me. Actually, it went straight from wireframing, you know, the concept, to getting it designed and getting it out the door, and we literally just launched on Friday.
Which is crazy because when I got into tech, you're gonna laugh, my co-founder and I, we actually hand drew our wireframes and we sent them to the coder, the developer, and she built exactly what we drew.
That's incredible.
It looked like a 4-year-old built our app out.
So she literally was like, I'm gonna take it verbatim.
Yes, she thought we were like creating a coloring book. I don't really know what happened, but it's like
stick drawings and
things like that took us, and we're like, okay, she's gonna get a great idea, and then we realized like, no, we need to learn how to do wireframes. We need to build a technology team because we're gonna need more people to take this on than what we're able to do.
Let's bring in Figma and some design wireframing tools. It's funny you say that. Actually, my designer, I've been working with her probably for about 8 years now.
Really?
Yeah, from when
incredible.
I first launched my first ad. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but what made me fall in love with the app world was, you know, back in probably 2010 is when I kind of realized that like I had that itch for like there's something here going on. It's gonna be big. I kind of knew it was like that modern day gold rush, you know. And so for me, it was like, you know, I met with all these investors, but I couldn't get them to share my vision. Now, like, I don't know if you came into contact with that, but it's like you can't really get people to go where you are mentally when they're just not there. Sometimes you have to take that leap of faith and just do it on your own, which is why we're so glad to have the services we have at Digital Prodigee. But, you know, to say the least, that, you know, I just took that leap. And what made me fall in love was in the first month after launching, I made my return on my investment.
There you go.
And I was like, this is what I have to do. And now we're looking at an app store that's accountable for over $500 billion.
That's incredible.
And what's I think the beautiful part of it, Macie, is like we look at what Apple did last year before all this commotion has happened in the financial industry and in like all of society, right? And they did about 40 billion, right? In the first quarter alone in 2020, they've already made 50 billion. So what does that say? That means the app world is like semi-recession proof. Like it's like it's to a degree, it's really an amazing platform to be part of. You have an idea, and you don't need to be a tech person. You just, like, for example, what you did with her app that was wildly successful, and investors were chomping at the bit to be part of it. She just had experience with a need as a woman, that is part of, beauty and gets ready and does hair and nails and all these things that everyday life, but she saw the niche in the market. And same for anybody that's out there. You could be in any industry. You could be delivering things. You could be, in handyman service, and you can find a need in the market, and it doesn't need to stop you, right, to be able to get into tech and apps. Like I said, $50 billion in the first quarter, that means like they're going to supersede. Insane. And if you look at a lot of the apps that actually launched, like the Ubers and the Airbnbs, they actually happened during what you'd call the last quote unquote recession.
Yep.
And so that's when I think when you have that necessity, where businesses are now needing to transform. We have a lot of touchless apps that are going out there right now. A lot of like POS type apps. E-commerce is huge right now. Amazon is blowing up. So
we need things that are going to focus on the new human behaviors that are changed because of this pandemic. Right? Yeah. So that's really exciting. And one thing that you did touch on with, not having the ability to get your investors to see your dream. When I first started pitching, I was pitching the beauty industry to white bald men. They didn't understand because they didn't have hair, right? Which is one of the first things that I start coaching on when my founders want to go through fundraising, right? It is your job as the founder to sell this market and educate your investors on this market, because that might not be something that they have in their portfolio or they've even considered, right? So that is part of the coaching process that I go through with my founders when we're preparing the due diligence package for the investors and what those conversations are going to sound like.
That's amazing. That's really phenomenal. I know Macie is actually my coach, so I can personally attest to the fact that she is phenomenal. I remember I actually was like, such a girl. I started crying on my second coaching call with her because I was just like, I couldn't believe the transformation I had, because Macie is so, talented in many ways, but one of the most prolific talents is that she's able to look at a business model and just completely spot immediately all the gaps, right? And she's able to take that strategy and just take it to the next level. And she sees all the weaknesses and turns them into opportunities. And she really breaks it down in such a simplistic way. And I couldn't believe it. Like, she's just on the call with me casually. And like, I've spent like years on this one app, and she just like broke down like, here's what you got to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it just felt like such breakthrough. And going on a personal level, because the way you coach is not just from a technical and strategical standpoint, it's really about knowing that you can do it. Because a lot of people kind of going back to the ideas, like we think that these tech moguls or the Mark Zuckerbergs or whoever, they deserve this, right? And that's natural to think, right?
Yeah.
Like they went to Harvard or MIT or whoever, but really it has to be a mindset that is internal, that you deserve it too.
Absolutely.
And Macie, like, she really helped me like believe that and see that and know my potential. And I am so grateful to have you on our team, because I can't wait for you to touch other people's lives the way that you have my own personally and our businesses. And I think that if anybody wants to become like a next level to their life and kind of supersede any expectations, I feel like it's just, a beautiful synergy and such a great kind of flow that we have for me to help people with their apps, because I absolutely love it. It's one of my biggest passions. And then to pass the baton on to you and take them to the sky and beyond. So
when it comes to like that emotion level, I like to say one thing that I had the pleasure of having was a co-founder. Right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like having a co-founder is a luxury. So in my consulting, I'm very relatable because I was once a founder, but some of those things that I really had to lean on my co-founder for, if you call me and half of the call is strategy and the other half is motivating your ass so that you remind yourself what you're made of. I've been on the other side of those conversations. Numerous times in 2.5 years, Sam, my old co-founder, has picked me up off the floor. So I like to think that I can, relate in. If you want to strategize the entire way, I've got all solution-based thinking that I'm super excited about, right? But there is that other emotional touch that I think we bring to the table that a lot of other mentors aren't willing to dive into or can't, you don't feel comfortable enough to talk to them about that.
Yeah. And I think that that's a great point. It's just like, you know, having that team to fall back on is so phenomenal. And I think just, you know, from your experience, I know that there were a lot of times where I'm sure it was hard to be resilient and come back from losing thousands of dollars or being disappointed about maybe not being able to get a founder or an investor to be interested. You know, I'm sure that those roadblocks were very difficult for you. So like, was it just like that you knew and believed in it to be like, you know, something that was going to be great in the market? Like how was that for you?
I had, and this is another reason why this coaching is so great, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned working on something for so long and then someone coming in and they're just like, oh, why not this? And you're like, that answer has been there the whole time, right? I was very much neck deep in my company and nothing was going to stop me. I mean, I was lobbying in Raleigh, North Carolina to get a state law changed and things just so that we could operate at a scalable level to 100 million in 5 years, right? So I think that you're going to hit different roadblocks. And when you surround yourself with the right team or the right mentors, you will get through every single one of them. I would give so much credit to my team because I would get phone calls and maybe have 3 roadblocks in one day that I was like, shit, how are we going to get past this? Like, can we recover from this, or is there whatever? And I would come up with these ideas in my head, and then I would get on the phone with my team and they're like, oh, how about this, or how about this, or how about this? I'm like, that's great. This is why I have you guys, right? Like, I didn't think of any of those things because immediately I just wanted to like cry my eyes out, you know? And I'm like, I'm not going to quit, I swear I'm not going to quit.
And it's so hard. I mean, you really are in such foreign territory. It's like, wait, what is this? I mean, a lot of people think that when you launch an app, I'm good to go. Like, all I need to do is get it in the App Store, and you can attest to this, and I know personally, you know, there is so much. I mean, there's literally a whole word, like, you know, there's SEO, which is search engine optimization on the App Store. They literally have their own search word optimization, which is ASO, and people don't even know about that. A lot of app development companies won't even think about you post-launch. And so, like, with us, it's like, no, like, there needs to be a strategy built in for after you launch, and what's the game plan for that. Otherwise, you're going to come into a lot of disappointment to the fact that, like, you are competing against a great deal of, you know, people in the App Store, and really knowing that strategy. And again, like, it's, you know, the pre-launch is its own kind of basic knowledge, and then post-launch is really, you need to have, you know, experienced people to help you guide you through that. And that's where we kind of come in and support our people, both from like a social media marketing standpoint, but also from a strategic standpoint with investors and whatnot. And so I guess if you have anything else you want to share with everybody, and kind of like any tips for anybody that's interested, or like, I think it's fair to say everybody has an app idea, right? Like,
everyone has some type of idea and we can make it into an app, right?
That's how we do it. We're gonna make it into an app.
No, I don't necessarily have any direct tips to share. I think as we talk, I often just spit out tips, but I do. I know you heard me earlier. You're like, are you consulting over there? Who are you speaking to?
She consults and she doesn't even know it. I'm like, you just changed his whole business model and you just said 2 words to him. So it's like.
But no, I really want to dig into how you found your confidence in this male-dominated industry.
Oh, great question.
Well,
first of all, I went to a tech school. Like, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology. So I think I was just kind of, it was just natural.
Threw yourself right in.
I threw it right in. So it's like, you know, I was around all tech people, and I was kind of like semi into like the art phase, which to a degree like still helps me out to this day, because I was actually a graphic media marketing student, but then I transitioned it just into business. And I remember going to this seminar, and this guy was teaching on transcendentalism. It's like a term you don't hear very often, but it's basically the merging of humans and technology.
Oh,
and after
I like that.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Teaching me things.
I couldn't believe it could happen, but maybe it's possible, right? So, you know, he basically was saying like what the future is going to look like. And from there on out, it just stimulated my mind so much that after that, I was like, I don't care what people see.
Right.
You know, I don't care if people see, you know, a stereotype. I'm sure, like, people could easily stereotype you. You're beautiful, you're successful, and who knows, like, you could be a tech mogul, right? Like,
right. They have
who
no
would have
idea.
Guessed that. So, you know, people are often surprised when I'm like, let's talk code, let's talk languages, let's talk C#, whatever. So it's like, you know, to me, it's more like the inspiration has to be the driving force, and anything else is kind of a cofactor. So I have run into those kind of roadblocks, with people kind of not thinking that I know my stuff, but that's when you just rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
I think it just show them that you're there and you've done your research and you know your shit.
I love that. Yeah. Take advantage of being like, when we walk in and everyone's like, oh, there's a female here.
Yes, exactly.
She smells like flowers.
Right.
And I'm like, I sure am.
Yes, exactly. Right. And I just you see what you just did there? See, she doesn't even know what she just did. She just took what people would consider to be a negative thing and made it like the most positive thing ever. And that's what she does, like nonstop. I mean, that's the mindset you have to have. Like, some people might see it as being scary or like, oh, I'm different. No, like you're different and that's amazing. Like your idea is different and that's incredible. Like we need different, right? And so like, I love that, like embrace it, right? And I think the other thing that kind of drove me towards it was just the fact that like, I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that it would be the new thing to replace websites, like 10 years ago. And I knew it was like the modern day gold rush, just off of like the people I would listen to alone. Like I'm wearing this outfit right now because it's my homage to Steve Jobs. Like I wanted to just like recognize the fact that Apple is a powerhouse, and if we don't recognize that digital is going to be the new thing, then you might get lost in the shuffle, especially for businesses that need to now transition more into a digital atmosphere. So I think that just there's a lot of parts to that answer, but overall it's all drive and inspiration.
I think you just made a really good point to when we're talking to our customer base. If you are an existing business owner and you're trying to figure out how not to get left behind.
Exactly.
How do I stay up with this? How do I build out technology based on my current business model and incorporate that into the way that my employees operate or the way that my customers interact?
Right.
And that's something that we can help with as well.
Exactly, yeah. Macie, thank you so much for being here with me today. It's such
I'm excited.
an
I love
honor
it.
to have you on the team and just to have you as a coach in my personal story. And I think that what people are going to walk away with today is just the fact that, it takes a team and a team with experience, because you can have any team, but it's really the quality, not the quantity. So, I think that, without being too, let me put my plug in there, right? Like without that, let me just say that I think that if people were to have an app idea, it would be a great benefit to think about Digital Prodigee as the solution. We will take you from an idea to an app to maybe a future tech mogul.
To fundraising, to scaling, all the fun stuff, taking over all the markets.
And then vacationing somewhere in Italy.
Right, and then we're going to buy it out. No, I'm just
So thank you again, and I hope you guys have a blessed day, best life, and keep living your dream.